Hey everyone, I've been getting a lot of questions from all of you about how I'm doing with the Arkansas flooding, and it hasn't affected me too much yet, but I thought I would give you guys a little insight into what's going on. It's been pretty crazy, especially in downtown Little Rock, although I know there are other areas of Arkansas that are particularly tough right now, especially in Fort Smith. So I wanted to show you a little bit of the latest, which is June 1st. This is one of the main bridges here. As you can see, the water has almost reached the bridge, which is pretty wild. There's another bridge further down called Big Dam Bridge, and both sides of that bridge are completely covered on the lower portion of it. Then you can see on the North Little Rock side, the water has gone over the walkway and it's up to the wall, and luckily the wall is blocking the water from going downtown fully, but as you can see, that's all that's blocking it. Typically there's a sidewalk there where people can walk all around. And then this side, this is the Little Rock side. You can see here it's pretty high up. It's not quite as high as North Little Rock, but it's pretty darn close, and it's apparently supposed to keep rising. And then I'll keep walking here so you can see there's a downtown sculpture garden that I'm hoping doesn't get completely covered. Right now it is quite flooded, and there's some incredible landscape architecture that I hope does not get washed away. Here's another bridge. You can see this is a brand new bridge they just constructed. It's the bridge that's the least covered of all of the bridges in downtown Little Rock, and you can see it's still pretty darn high up there. So over there in North Little Rock, there's fields that are pretty flooded. It goes up to a wall on all sides of the bridge. There's a submarine up here as well that's quite covered. It's typically a submarine museum that's actually literally turning into an active submarine right now. And then further down in Little Rock in the Riverdale area, the roads are completely blocked. Fields are getting completely flooded. Businesses are getting flooded. You can see the water is rushing pretty rapidly as well. And so just the strength of the current is a little bit alarming, because if it rushes up quickly, it can really wash a lot away. You can see over here some fields in North Little Rock that are flooding quite a bit. There's a minor league baseball field over there, paths, walkways, those are all getting flooded. These are trees here that are typically regular trees, and just the tops are sticking out of the water. It's pretty crazy. There's more over here as well. There's a lot of people working around the clock putting up sand to try to help protect a lot of these areas. There's some condos on the right here, which luckily they built on a hill, so they'll hopefully be protected, but this whole walkway could be flooded any hour now, actually. The other side's already gotten flooded, so this side has been fortunate so far to hold out. I think it's due to come up another 5 feet though, so if it does, it's quite likely that this whole walkway here will get flooded within a few hours. You can see over there, that wall seems to be holding the water for now, and there's cars driving alongside it. These trees all here are typically just normal trees, and you just see the tops of them. The water's rushing really rapidly. Here's a close-up of the bridge. Down here further is when you start to see the architectural sculpture area that's getting really flooded. It was recently installed and it's really beautiful, so we're hoping it doesn't get washed away. Down further, there's two other bridges. One is right next to the Clinton Presidential Library, and that whole area has completely been flooded. There's a nature conservatory and pathway that's completely underwater. There's actually a lot of wildlife that's been coming up on these banks here that normally stay further down. There's been snakes in parking lots and salamanders and lizards kind of all moving their way up because it's a little confusing. So up here you can see the water line measurements. This looks like it's at close to 40 feet. Once again, you can see over in North Little Rock, it's pretty darn flooded. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's really rushing. It's actually pretty loud. We're coming up onto a few more bridges and you can see just how high up it is. Some of them are old and I'm hoping they hold up. You can see right here, there's a set of 3 bridges. We'll get closer, especially as we get closer to the sculpture garden. So this water is really rushing pretty intensely up against this bridge. Apparently this is a 500-year flood, which is pretty wild. A lot of homes that were never supposed to be in the flood zone are in the flood zone. So that's really sad. And hopefully people will get the support they need to recover. You can see over here, this is a ball field. Looks like there's a bit of a levee there that's holding it back, but all of these walkways here are completely flooded. The water is really rushing pretty aggressively. You can see over there, that's the Verizon Arena. The water is going right up to it, right up to that wall. It's a big venue where concerts are held. And now up here it's about to get really crazy because there are these amazing paths for bikers. It's called the River Trail. And there's a children's playground. People fish from there. They get on skateboards and walk around, and it's just completely unwalkable at this point. I think they've closed a lot of it off, but I'm going to show you as much as I can. It's become, I guess, a bit of a tourist attraction because people are just amazed by how underwater everything's become. So here you can see this spot. The walkway is underground, underwater. then up here further, it's all underwater. So these are trees. These trees are normally part of a walkway. This is all a walking path here. It's a playground. There's stairs over there you can see that people normally walk down. These trees are normally planted. There's all kinds of architecture. These stairs here typically go quite a ways down into a whole area for seating, and it's completely covered right now. All of this, I was just walking here last week, and now it looks like it's part of the river. What's really scary is that there's some incredible sculptures here that have been installed from various artists, and you can see some of them are actually in the water right now. So I'm certainly hoping that they're strong enough and stable enough to not get washed away. This is a playground that is still intact. Luckily the water hasn't come up this high, but typically down here there's a lot more people playing and walking and using little scooters. See lampposts, seating, placards, they're all underwater here. And then over there you can see a tree that's right underneath the bridge, just completely submerged. Looks like they had some sandbags here. They were trying to help the water levels rising. And they've got some sort of pump pumping some of the water out because they've invested a lot of money into this area. It's been really stunning the past few weeks walking here, seeing all the artist installations, and really hoping it stays intact. That would be really sad. See the steps that it normally goes down to, and it's just a whole area that's usually fully walkable. Hopefully they're able to pump some of the water out. And now here they've got us blocked off because after here it looks like it's almost all underwater. I'm going to see if I can show you a peek of just how high it's come over here. There's a beautiful rose garden over here that I'm hoping didn't get covered. Oh wow. Yeah, this is really covered up. You oftentimes will see couples sitting under these trees on those stone benches, and as you can see, there's hardly a stone bench, just the top of it. Top of one of them is showing. This is a pathway that you can normally walk along with flower bushes on either side. It's full of water right now. This part of the sculpture garden is okay. It's pretty high, so fingers crossed that it stays intact. These are some of my favorite sculptures over here. So I'll just take you to my favorite little spot. And this will be our last stop. You can see it's all sectioned off. This is a little rose garden where people picnic. You can see the water's creeping up on it, hoping it doesn't breach. It's a really beautiful sculpture there. But the water is pretty darn close, and as you can see over here, it's really coming up, about to cover the sidewalk here. So that's how things are looking as of now, June 1st in the afternoon in Arkansas and Little Rock specifically. And keep everyone in your thoughts and prayers. It's a crazy historic flood, a 500-year flood, and it's one of those things that just goes to show Mother Nature is going to do what she wants to do, and all we can do is hope to survive it and live alongside it. But thank you for all your emails and notes asking if I'm okay. I'm certainly okay. There are people who are definitely losing a lot more. Keep Arkansas and Oklahoma in your thoughts and prayers. Thanks, guys.